तव कथामृतं तप्त जीवनं कविभिडीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये हृदा जनाः. Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourses with his intimate devotees at Star Theatre in North Kolkata on Sunday, the 14th of December 1884, when he went there to witness the drama on Prahlada, the king of devotees. And there was a discussion after the drama was over. Naturally, Sri Ramakrishna was discussing about bhakti, which we have been dealing for the last so many months. And we have seen how Sri Ramakrishna classified devotion as a graded course of spiritual enlightenment. It starts with nishtha, then evolves into bhakti. We have discussed Navalakshana bhakti, Navada bhakti, Shravanam Kirtanam Adi, and then it matures into bhava, Pancha bhava, and Shanta Dasya Sakhya Vatsalya Madhur. So we are discussing the Sakhya bhava, and several discussions have already been over, various grades of the fine tunes of Sakhya bhava. Now, one thing to be noted, that among all the bhavas, the Sakhya bhava seems to be very favorable for the Lord. It is important. Sri Krishna is found to be having a special favor. He used to like to become friends. And we have to understand this. Usually when we say of Sakhya bhava, friendship, and we say as the cowherd boys, who were the playmates of Sri Krishna, the normal parlor, we think that it is a friendship between the male children or male persons. That's not true. Anybody can establish the friendship relation with God. This we have to understand in little depth. Now this part we will take up now, that Sri Krishna was having this bhava, or the devotees had this bhava with Sri Krishna, both male and female. It is interesting to note that both Arjuna and Draupadi is to have this relation with Sri Krishna. Now Arjuna, we all know that he was his friend, Sakha. In Bhagavad Gita also he refers Sri Krishna as several times as Sakha, his friend. Not only friend, intimate friend. Now Arjuna had 4 more brothers, but whenever he was in distress or anything to confide, he would consult Sri Krishna. So this is a very important factor, and his wife Draupadi, she also had this relation with Sri Krishna, she was his Sakhi. Now Draupadi was also having 5 husbands, and out of whom it is said that Arjuna was her closest, and in fact that was the reason why Draupadi fell from the mountain in her journey to the Mahaprasthan, because though she was committed, though she was to be having a similar relation with all 5 husbands, but she had a special favor with Arjuna. For that fault, she was debarred direct entry to the kingdom of heaven. Nevertheless, even Draupadi had a very special relationship with Sri Krishna. It is said that Krishna and Draupadi shared an iconic relationship. Krishna called Draupadi a Sakhi, and she called Sri Krishna as Sakha. Now we have to understand the Sakhya or friendship relation. They share a sense of deep understanding of each other's commitments, joys, travels in life. They continue almost telepathically. Whatever be the relation, this Sakhya Bhav makes the two souls united together without the consideration of time and space. They may be living a distant apart. Still then, they can enjoy this relationship with eternal joy, enormous joy. Now, there is a big spiritual lesson when you study this relationship of Draupadi and Sri Krishna. In fact, we discussed in our last class that this point was raised by Uddhava, and this is narrated in Uddhava Gita, the conversation between Uddhava and Sri Krishna. As the conversation of Arjuna and Sri Krishna is narrated in Bhagavad Gita, so this particular relation of Sri Krishna with his friends is highlighted in Uddhava Gita. Now, Uddhava asks a direct question to Sri Krishna. Please tell me, who is a real friend? And Sri Krishna says, the real friend is one who comes to the help of his friend in need, even without being called. Now, then there is a confusion here, because Krishna says that Draupadi did not call me when Dushasan held her hair and dragged her to fulfill his brother's order. When they lost in the gamble, then Duryodhana ordered his brother Dushasan to bring Draupadi in the open court, and she held her hair and dragged physically, forcibly. But Draupadi wanted to save herself, and she was still arguing in the hall based on her own abilities, because she knew that her husbands are no more in a position to help her. But she never called Sri Krishna. This is what Sri Krishna says. Finally, good sense prevailed, and when Dusasana started disrobing her, Chirharan ke samay, she gave up depending on her own strength and started shouting, Hari Hari, Abhayam Krishna, Abhayam. She surrendered and shouted for Sri Krishna, and then Sri Krishna got an opportunity to save her modesty. This is important. This is to be learned in our spiritual journey. So this has been clarified with the question of Uddhava. Then Uddhava asked, this means that you will come only when you are called. Will you not come automatically to help your devotee surrounded by trouble? God should. This is the question, basic question in our mind. That God is Antaryamin. He is seeing everything. He is seeing our plight. And He is our very own. As we are friend to God, we are also friend to Him. So when He sees, this is not in keeping with even human relation. Even in a human relation, when we see a friend, a near and dear one in distress, whether he or she asks any help or not, we immediately jump to save, to help, whatever is possible. But here, we discussed that in the Shanta Bhava. This is the problem with Bhishma also. Bhishma said that you are the Lord of the universe, you are moving with the Pandavas all through, but there is no end of disasters and miseries in their life. This I couldn't understand. That's why I'm weeping at the point of departure from this world. At my deathbed, I could not understand. The same question was asked in a different way by Uddhava. Now, here is the clue that Sri Krishna is saying, that I remain with the devotees as a witness. As a witness I remain, and I always stay close to them and watch what is happening. This is the religion of God. So Uddhava asks a very, very particular, poignant question. So this means that He will keep standing near us and observe all our misdeeds. We will keep on sinning and He will continue to witness us. Is it the matter? Then what is the big fun? You stand there as a witness, as Sakshi, and you see that your near and dear one is committing mistakes, and you are a silent watcher. Now, Sri Krishna gives the secret of our spiritual life. He says that though I am near you, near my devotee every moment as a witness, if you acknowledge this fact, then can you do any sin? Can you do any misdeed? On my part, I am ever ready. I am always there. Whether you acknowledge or not, I don't care. But I am ever ready. But if you ignore me, if you do not seek my help, my participation, then I don't force upon your life. That is the point. Now, when you forget this and begin to understand that you can do everything and you hide those things from me, then you get caught in difficulties, but still then I don't interfere. Now, this throughout the Bhagavad Gita, we find that he was the charioteer of Arjuna and as a guide. But he never fought Arjuna's war. God does not replace us and do the work. God wants us to do the work with the help of God. But when we get into doing the work, we forget God. We think that I am the doer, and then naturally God does not interfere, He waits. When we are in deep distress, and when we call on Him, when we seek His participation, seek His grace, then that grace becomes revealed to us So far it was there, but we are ignoring. There is sunshine and we have darkness in the room. But if we keep the doors and windows of the room closed, then we don't see the light. As soon as we open the windows and doors, the light will come in. So the grace of God is felt. Grace of God is always there. It is not that He gives His grace when we call on Him. It's always there. But we don't acknowledge it. We don't depend on it. We think it is all our own. When Draupadi surrendered and called on Sri Krishna with earnestness, then Sri Krishna's help was palpable. She was saved. So in the relationship of Sakhyata, there is another bhavas also, the earnestness, longing for God is the most important. So now here, so Draupadi enjoyed this relation throughout her life and had a very, very sweet, intimate and confidential relation with Sri Krishna in a different dimension as her husband Arjuna. Now, normally the Sakhya Bhava, the ideal Sakhya Bhava is projected by the relationship of Krishna and Sudama. This is depicted as the eternal bond of true friendship. Now, who was this Sudama? Sudama was the classmate of Sri Krishna. After the death of Kamsa, for regular study, Sri Krishna was sent to the Guru Sandipani ashrama to study along with his elder brother Balaram. Now, they allocated a room for their residence in the Guru ashrama, Guru Griha, where Krishna and Balaram were staying, and the third room partner was this Sudama. He was the son of a very poor Brahmin family, and he had the rare privilege of sharing the room with Krishna and Balaram, and gradually they developed a very deep relationship of friends. They are bosom friends of Krishna and Sudama. We are bosom friends. Now, is an ideal relationship shows that how deep God feels for His friends. In the Bhagavatam, there is plenty of example that how the cowherd boys felt for Sri Krishna, and also vice versa. But here, Kavi Narottam Das has written poems narrating what happened in Dwarka when Sudama was sent by his wife in search of some financial help. They were very poor. They could hardly make both ends meet. So his wife once scolded him thoroughly and said that your friend we hear is a very rich person. He is a king in Dwarka, and you say that he is your very, very bosom friend. Why don't you go and ask for some financial help? He said, I cannot go and ask anything from my friends. He said, no, you have to go. He was forced out. So he went, and in order to offer something to his friend, he carried some flattened rice, chiuda. This is all well known. And after a long journey, when he reached finally, naturally the doorkeepers did not allow him, because he was looking very poor, a torn cloth, and without the usual dress. He wanted an entry to the royal court, was denied, but he repeatedly insisted that his name may be uttered to his friend, that Sudama has come. So finally the doorkeeper, watchman, he went to Sri Krishna and just uttered that one friend of this description, very poor, and he does not deserve to enter into the royal court, but he says that his name is Sudama and he wants to meet you. Now, you see, this is the friendship. Now, Sri Krishna was then in his royal attire. He was Dwarkadhish. But as soon as he heard, he ran and he embraced his friend. Very nicely expressed by Kavi Narottam Das. And he said that you must have suffered so much because your bare feet is wounded. So immediately he brought him to his quarter and started to clean his feet. Now it is mentioned that the feet of Sudama was washed not by water but by the tears of Sri Krishna's eyes. So this is the level of friendship of God that he can do anything for the Sakha. And it is well known that when after he was nursed and kept in order, then Sudama was very much, he was shy, ashamed to offer. He saw the grandeur and offered that dry, flattened rice he brought for his friend. But Sri Krishna repeatedly inquired that, haven't you brought anything for me? So with great difficulty he presented. So immediately he took one handful of that flattened rice. But when he wanted to take the second, then Rukmini stopped him. He said, Prabhu, you have shown your grace, but now you are not in a position to have such type of food that will harm your body. He said, enough. So then this relation goes like this. So this Sakhya Bhav is a very pure relation and it is eternal. Though they met after a lapse of so many years and each was in a very different scenario, though they were together, roommates in Guru Sandipani's ashrama, now they are in a different position. Nevertheless, the relationship is constant. And not only constant, it is the love is ever increasing. Pratikshana Bardhamana. This is the indication of prema, Sakka prema. Similarly, we find in Mahabharata, another female person, like Draupadi, had a Sakhya Bhava with Sri Krishna, who was the wife of Vidur, Vidur ka patni. Now, when Sri Krishna came before the Kurukshetra war to establish peace, peacemaker, but then his mission was in vain, it didn't fulfill. So Duryodhana asked him to dine with him in the royal palace with various types of royal dishes. But Sri Krishna did not take. Though it was very elaborate, but it was lacking the taste of bhakti. It was with pomp and grandeur, that was ahankar. So he didn't accept. He went to take food, sought bhiksha in Vidurgriha from his Sakhi, the wife of Vidur. They are very poor people. So they were so much overwhelmed, she could not make something. Only she prepared some spinach, some sabji bana diya, shak. Now, कहा जाता है दुर्योधन को सेवा त्यागो साग विदुर घर खाई. It was nectar for Sri Krishna, and he asked for second or third serving because it was full of devotion. As has been said in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Jome Bhaktya Prajachati. So this, whatever is given, that what I eat is the bhakti, not the material. My food is that bhakti, which is more than nectar. Now, not many people know that even Duryodhan also had this relation with Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna maintained his Sakha Bhava with Duryodhan. Now, as we know that they were relatives, Duryodhana and Lord Krishna, they were relatives, family relations. Although this relation was never acknowledged by Duryodhana, but Sri Krishna never crossed the line and respected the relation by law. Later on, we know that Sri Krishna had 8 wives, and one of them was Jambavati. Jambavati was the daughter of Jambavana, mentioned as in Ramayana. Now, Jambavati had a son, his name was Samba. Now, this Samba was married to the daughter of Duryodhana, Lakshmana. And Sri Krishna did not object this relation. He arranged this relation and maintained a cordial and family relation with Duryodhana. He gave him due respect and maintained this relationship. So God always maintains the relationship. It is for us to make use of this relation in the best possible way we can. Now, such relation of friendship we find in other characters also in Mahabharata. One was Akrura. Akrura was the uncle of Sri Krishna, and by the order of Kamsa, he went to Mathura to bring Krishna and Balaram. But after the death of Kamsa, Sri Krishna went and stayed in the house of Akrura. Now there, at that time, that Samantak money, that gem, was stolen, and people thought that they put a blame that Sri Krishna stole that. But then later on, this Akrura took it away in Benares and brought it back and saved Sri Krishna from this blemish. There was another friend of Sri Krishna was Satyaki. Now, Satyaki was a great warrior. When Sri Krishna went to Duryodhana's court, he took only Satyaki with him, and he said that before entering into the court of Kauravas, he said, if I am attacked, I will take care of me. But if you are attacked, don't worry, my warriors will be with Duryodhana, and after my death, they will come to your help. Satyaki was always a follower of Sri Krishna in every possible way. Now it is interesting to note that even Radhika had a friendly relation with Sri Krishna at the outset. We are always told that Sri Radhika had a Madhur Bhava of Sri Krishna, but at the outset, Sri Krishna took her as his Sakhi, and 11th century poet Sri Jayadev Goswami wrote an epic Gita Govinda highlighting this Sakhi Bhava. Now, another attitude was developed with this Sakhi Bhava, this Sakha Bhava, then Sakhi Bhava, the friend of Radhika. Now, there is a sect of Radha Ballavi. It's another branch of Sakhya Bhava. Sakhi is an eternal servant maiden of Swamini Sri Radhika Ji. Radha and Sri Krishna were inseparable. So here, even the male persons, male devotees, they assume the role of a female friend of Radhika Ji. Now Radhika Ji had 8 closest friends, Sakhiyan. इसको अष्ट सखी कहा जाता है. The principal 8 female friends of Radhika Ji, Gopiyan, they are Lalita, Vishakha, Chitra, Champaklata, Tungavidya, Indulekha, Rangadevi and Sudevi. Now besides these 8 Ashtasakis, anybody can assume a friendship relation with Radhika Ji as her female friend. Now in North Indian Vaishnava Bhakti Sampradaya, now there is a sect founded by Hita Harivangsha. When he consecrated an image of Krishna called Radha Vallabha, lover of Radha, at Vrindavan in 1535. And it was continued by, after his death, by his son Krishnadasa. Now, this sampradaya is dedicated to the worship of Radha through an attitude of Sakhya Bhava, in which the devotee assumed the role of a female attendant of a close girlfriend of Radha. Here you may remember that this Sri Ramakrishna, at some part of his sadhana, he embraced this Sakhi Bhava. He, being a male person, he used to clothe as a woman and as Sakhi Bhava of Divine Mother. And his sadhana was so perfect that he was staying in the house of Mathuranath Biswas along with other females, taking a female dress. Now, even Mathur Babu could not identify Sri Ramakrishna among the female, this attendants present, these female people present in this in his house. Only his wife pointed that this is Sri Ramakrishna. His role, his sadhana was so perfect. So this is another Sakhi Bhav or Sakha Bhav is a very elaborate relation where the principal point is this, that there is absolute confidentiality, commitment and love between each other. Now, this is not only in the avatar of Sri Krishna. Now, when Sri Krishna arrived again as Chaitanya Deva, then Sri Nityananda Ram Prabhu, he was also his friend and disciple. According to Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya tradition, so Sri Nityananda Ram is called as an incarnation of Balaram, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being his eternal brother and friend, Sri Krishna, they come together, Krishna Balaram and Gaur Nitai. Now, this wonderful relation between the God and the devotee is present in every incarnation of God, but it is discussed at length in the Leela of Sri Krishna, but it is also mentioned in other avatars like Sri Ramachandra, even Sri Ramakrishna, which we will take up in our future discussions. Niranjanam nityam ananta rupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidhyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Let us close our discussion today by taking the name of the Lord in chorus. Please join with me, all of you who are connected with this class. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om.